Mr. Kelly, what's a trombone? Mr. Kelly, yeah.
Hello, you fucks. Welcome to John Solo's Beard Brigade. I'm John Solo, and I just realized I did not update the ticker. Tracy, in the future, can you remind me to update the ticker? Because I'm never going to remember. Hello. How are you guys? Let's see here. Well, we have I'm looking at the ticker to see what I'm doing today, but I know. I'm actually working on Roe Horvat today. We're about to start that after the show here and after I have some dinner. And that is, I believe, Winter Sun Book 2, and it's Rose, so it's going to be freaking fantastic. Later on this week, we also have, and I've been teasing this for a little while, Jody has the pre-read done. I've been in contact with the author. We have a new author to us, Nasri Noor, and we're starting a new series for him, which I'm stoked about too. So we're doing that later on this week. If we do well, hopefully by this weekend, we will be into Little Patty Logan. I've been in Little Patty Logan so many times that it feels comfortable to me at this point. She's like an old sheath. Anyways, that's what we got going on. I have been working on admin stuff all morning, and to be honest with you, I took a nap in the middle of the day, which was nice. This week, we have a regular Rambling Grambling coming up on Thursday. I'm excited about that. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to bring on our guest here. Now, there's an interesting story behind this. I guess I'll tell the story while I actually have the guest on the screen. Here we have a new author to us, Miss Jaiyde Thomas. Hello, Jade. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for coming on. I'm going to give a little bit of background here, and then I'm going to read your bio. I normally read it beforehand, but I kind of wanted to do this with you today. Jade actually reached out to me. It's been about a month or two ago, Jade. Somewhere in there, you reached out to me on Messenger.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and this happens to me and Trace sometimes, and actually listen now too, where people will reach out and they want to be on the show, and great, man. I told Jade earlier, I was like, unless I really dislike someone, I'm going to have them on, and I can't really think of anyone I dislike, so yeah, we'll have you on. Now, she also let me know, and I have a lot of experiences, so one would think I would be less awkward than I was. She immediately said to me, I'm blind. Now, mind you, she's typing to me on Facebook Messenger, so I know how this works, but I didn't know. I was like, oh, you're blind. I know a blind person, Tracy. Hi. let me let you talk to my assistant, Trace, because she knows how to do this, and I don't, like a freaking idiot. But I wanted to explain that whole story because you reached out. You're wonderful. I have enjoyed our conversation so far, and you took the initiative. You have, I believe, what they call in the industry, balls. So, so welcome. Tell me what has been happening in your life. Tell me why you're on the show, and tell me what you do.
Well, for starters, I am an author, obviously, of contemporary gay romance. Um, my books focus on um, disabled characters, and they also have kink and BDSM representation as well. Um, I saw you recorded, I think, one of these with Casey Wells, which is why I actually initially thought about reaching out. And I also saw you did one with Kevin Earlywine. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And so I decided to give you a holler just to see, if I could come on and promote myself, talk about life and books and things of that nature. What's been happening? Um, I had a book recently published in February, A Destined Christmas Miracle, and I am currently working with an editor on the second book in that series. So, besides that, I just want to thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Bah, yeah, it's not up to me. This show kind of runs itself at this point. I just show up and eat all the eggs. But you are welcome. I have a lot of questions. First off, one of the things you let me know initially. Oh, I forgot to do something. I'm supposed to read your bio. Shh, don't tell anybody. While I'm pulling that up, one of the things that I learned about you initially is that you actually live where I do. You're in little Columbus, Ohio. Is that right?
Yes, and I love it here.
I'm kind of worried about today because we're getting I got an email from our electric company yesterday saying there's supposed to be some nasty weather coming in right about now. So right now it's like all windy and shit out, and we're like waiting for it to hit. But yeah, what? Out of curiosity, I'm not out near anything. What side of town are you on?
Um, ooh, I don't even know. Like,
Are you
I
in?
live where the blind school is located. Do you
Okay.
know where that is?
Actually, I know exactly where that is. I used to drive by
Okay.
there
Yeah.
quite a bit. Cool. You're maybe 8 miles, 10 miles from me. You're not very far at all.
Wow.
When I was looking at this bio, right? I'm looking at this. Jaiyde Thomas is a lover of words and languages. Though her heart is in Alabama, I'm going to get back to that. She was born and raised in Ohio. Her first full experience, hang on here. Her first experience with gay romance was when she offered to Beta read her friend's novel. We got to figure out who that is too. Since then, she's been hooked on the genre. Her inspirations are Gianni Holmes, Casey Wells, and Parker Williams. When I read that the first time, the first thing I thought was, oh, she's filthy. And their books are the reason why Jaiyde started writing. She loves a good character with complex character, or a story with complex characters, steamy sex scenes, and happily ever afters. Claim Me, Love Me is her first novel. And then you give links below. Okay, we're going to go back. First off, you're in Ohio. You were born in Ohio. Why is your heart in Alabama?
So my family is initially from there, and I actually went and visited last year, and I kind of felt a little more at home there. Like I felt like when I left Alabama, I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave, and I feel like Alabama's a part of me, obviously, because my family is from there. So I feel like my heart's in Alabama, and I've been telling my family that I want to spend my last few years, and I want to, be buried in Alabama. So
Well, it would be
yeah,
easier. It would be easier to be buried in Alabama. It doesn't get as cold there, so the frost line's a lot low. Anyways, that's awesome though. I've only been to Alabama a couple times in my life, but I loved it down there, except for it is fucking hot. How long did
yeah,
you stay down there?
the humidity in Alabama is ridiculous. I think we were only there for a couple of days, just for visiting and vacationing.
Now they have roaches there the size of my hand. I know that you can't see those, but did anything just like hit you in the face while you were walking around? 'Cause they fly or like palmetto. I don't know what the fuck they are, but they're huge. Did you get attacked or swarmed?
No, no.
Makes sense. I'm going to keep on going here. Then you beta read your friend's novel. Now I'm gonna preface this with a couple things here, and then please go on. Had you read romance prior to your friend giving you something to beta read?
No.
So what was your first thought when you pulled this out and you're like, oh, he's going to put it in there?
Yeah, I I was a little like shocked, I guess, by the fact of this was like my first gay romance book, and I was actually shocked by how turned on and drawn to the material I was. And if I may say, the friend whose novel I beta read was Gianni Holmes.
Ah,
So
out of curious, which one are you allowed to say? Which one you did?
I actually don't remember what Easy does. I think it was one of their first ones.
Gotcha. I well, as you know, well, maybe you don't know. I've worked for Gianni Holmes through Tantor quite a few times, and we just picked up another series. The No, no, we just did another continuation of a series for her through Tantor. Now, she's not a great friend of mine, but I've certainly talked to her online quite a few times. And that's like, I believe the term would be throwing you into the deep end because Gianni is, she doesn't pull any punches, by say. So when you started to get turned on, you realized you weren't an author at this point. What was going through your head? Oh my God, I want more. Oh my God, I can write this. Holy shit, they have dicks that size. What were you thinking?
I was just like, because I hadn't really like had much experience with anyone who was gay and like talking about sex and things. Like I didn't there was a lot that I like didn't know. Um I mean I knew there was anal sex, but I just didn't know like a lot of the preparation things for it. And I definitely wanted more. I literally sat there and read the book. I didn't move. I sat there and I read the book until I was finished. and I sent her like I believe like a really nice post, like I tagged her in it in her group and was like, "This is the best thing I've ever read." Um, I definitely wanted to read more after that, and I believe I picked up some other books after reading hers.
Now, you are describing a condition, and I didn't see this coming, but let's live here for a little while. You are describing a condition that has happened to a lot of people that watch this show, and a lot of people that are, obviously audiobook fans, MM Romance. A lot of people came into it that way. Most of us were not listening or reading MM Romance when we were 10 years old. It just wasn't there, you know? This was a newer genre. So, I want to drill down into this. You were turned on. Cool, and we're all comfy with talking about that here. But there's more to it than just the sex. What else hooked you? Was it the love? You'd read romance before. Was it love between two men? Was it a different dynamic?
It definitely was the love. I think I had shied away from reading LGBTQ romance because I'd had a very strange experience in high school with a girl who said that she liked me, and I have always identified as straight up until recently. So I think I like shied away from reading LGBTQ romance, or just even wasn't like readily available to me. But reading um, Gianni's book, I definitely loved the love, and I think there was a pride celebration at the end. I don't know if it was that book or another book, but I definitely was like, wow, this is a very open, like accepting community. Like I like this. Um, so that
That
was kind of my yeah.
that community thing. If you allow me for a second, when I read my
Sure.
first one, I didn't know that I was reading my first one. I actually gotten the job to record it, and I didn't know that's what it was until I got into it. My reaction was not being turned on. I'm not gay. That being said, there was a completely different dynamic between the one male in the book and the other male in the book, as opposed to a male and female. A lot of times in MF romance, and to each their own, I'm glad people like it, but the female typically does not seem to have as much control or power over the relationship as the male. And that's one of the
Right.
things was very interesting to me. Did you find that? Was it surprising to you? Was it not? And how was it different?
So, like I said, it's been I can't even remember the name of the books. I don't remember if there was even BDSM content in it, but I like with books that I have read that are BDSM related. I like how even though it's a dom sub situation, like the relationship is still in some ways very equal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And I just I don't know. It's definitely like MM romance is now the genre that I would prefer to read.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for straight romances with
Mm-hmm.
BDSM elements, but I really love the gay romance
Gotcha.
genre now,
And that
especially
BDSM,
with BDSM content.
I was going to say that BDSM concept is really what's getting you too. It's what it sounds like to me. Now, is that
Absolutely.
just is it strictly a sexual thing? Nothing wrong with it, or is it more about that power control dynamic for you? What really gets you with BDSM in particular?
So I am very passionate about the lifestyle. If it's okay to say, I actually identify as a dominant.
No, 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 that's
And
going too far, Jade. That's you're not even the first Dom I've had on this year. I don't think. Maybe it was last year. I forget. Go ahead, please.
but I feel like I while the sex and the kinky activities are great, like cool, yay. Um, I really love the power exchange. I like a Dom taking care of a sub, Dom giving sub rules, tasks, rituals to abide by, protocol to follow. I like that. And I like the also I recently like kind of found out about like maintenance beating, so those seem of interest to me as well. But um I really like the power exchange aspect of the lifestyle.
It makes sense too, though, that now that I think about it, I'm no scientist or anything, but being a dom, if you and blind, if you tie them down, they can't get away from you and sneak out. So it makes perfect sense to me. That 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 sorry, that was a cheap one. That being said, it's really cool. You're not the first author that I've talked to that has experience in the lifestyle by any stretch, but it is so cool when I get to talk to a person that has experience in a lifestyle, because some of the things that are going into your books are from actual experience as opposed to reading other people's books. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
And do you find, this is a general question, you don't need to name names, do you find that in the MM romance, BDSM, that people are getting some things wrong? Is that something that turns you off sometimes or throws you off?
I don't think yet that I've read a book where something wasn't accurately portrayed. But I know it can happen, and I mean, just takes a little bit more research, or even going, going to a BDSM dungeon and talking to the people. Um,
That's That's awesome, though. That means that really the information is getting out, that the information is being portrayed accurately, I would say. I've done a lot of these books on BDSM. The power struggle is certainly an interesting thing. It took me a long time to understand the power that a sub has over the Dom. I just simply did not realize that. But the fact that a lot of people are getting this right, for instance, I've read MM romance books that deal with something close and personal to me. I'm an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic, and I know that world, and a lot of people get it completely wrong. It sounds like they're kind of getting it on the same page with BDSM. They're actually nailing it. They're getting it right. No pun intended again with the nailing thing. Now, you're on your second book like this. I'm assuming there's a lifetime of writing BDSM books ahead of you, or is there some other genre inside of this that also perks your interest?
so I really, like I said, I'm very passionate about BDSM, and I feel like that's kind of where my heart lies here. Like I would love to continue to write BDSM books, especially with the disabled characters. And I say this every time I do like a promo or a giveaway or something in another author's group, but I say that disabilities in BDSM are very much so stigmatized. And with my books, I kind of want to combat and break those barriers and stigmas, and
Hmm.
actually give the reader a chance to come to me, the author who is completely blind, and ask questions. So that's why I write about BDSM and blindness. As far as the question that you asked, I feel like I've been like in contact recently with dark romance authors, and I'm kind of leaning towards something. I don't want to give too much away about it, but I think I might be dabbling in a little bit of the dark, serial killer-ish type
You've been
of
talking to
romance
Onley.
soon.
You've been talking to Onley James. All right, cool. I know exactly where you're going with this. We all know who she is. Okay. I've actually years ago I actually did a couple of those. One with knife play. It was so different from much of anything that I'd gotten into before. By the way, Brooke and Tracy and a couple other people in the live crowd are jumping out like, "Oh, I want to hear about that." A lot of people are into the darker stuff, which is awesome. Now, when you're not writing and when you're not tying down people so they can't get away from you, what other hobbies do you do? What do you do with your life?
So I like to be out in nature. I don't get a chance often to do it, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I love reading. Um, I love playing drums. I haven't played drums in quite a while, probably since my senior year of high school, but I thoroughly enjoy it. Also, I am an avid soap opera watcher, so yeah. But besides that, that is about it. And I'm also like learning how to cook and bake, so those are becoming things that I am interested in when I have the time to do them,
Well,
like
you
when I
are,
can really relax and do them.
yeah. Well, what's nature? You're pretty close to Highland Parks up there, and there's a couple other parks not too far around you. Are you able to get out and do this on your own? Do you have a dog that helps? How does that work?
So I don't have a seeing eye dog. Not a fan of dogs at all. I do use the cane, but I haven't had much mobility instruction, which, if you don't know what that is, um, it is someone who will come out and basically show you how to navigate your neighborhood safely as a blind person. So I haven't had too much mobility instruction, but it's being worked on. So
Yeah.
hopefully that will change soon.
How
Because
long?
I do kind of want to see what's
Well,
around my complex,
how long have you been in this particular apartment?
since 2021.
Okay, so not very awful long.
Not
Yeah,
very long.
we got to get you out. You got a lot of really pretty things down there. You're fairly close to downtown Columbus, but you're also not too far from a
Hmm.
couple metro parks, which would be gorgeous. But Jody and I spend a lot of time. Now we're northeast side of town, so we're a little bit out in the country, which is nice. But
Hmm.
we have a park down the road, and we go there constantly. That's got to be a bitch though. Like if you're because where you are, like there's a lot of fucking traffic out there. So
Yeah.
it would not be safe until you know. That fascinated me though because I love the outdoors as well. I'm also a musician, as you know, and it sounds like you played in the is it the high school marching band? Is that what you did?
Yes.
Dude, that had to be a blast. How did that work with? I'm sorry, I keep on asking these stupid blind
It's
questions, but
okay. It's completely fine to ask. So basically, all of the members of the band had marching assistants. So they're people from the community who would
mhm.
volunteer to um, march with us. And basically, what they do is they'd put their arm um, behind our like on our shoulders, basically to guide
Mhm.
us.
Mhm.
And that's how basically we'd go through drills and stuff, do parades, and
Dude,
yeah,
that's
they were our
that.
guides.
No, that's awesome. I didn't realize it was an entire school of you obviously went to the school of blind, so that makes perfect sense that
Hmm.
they would have a marching band and everybody would be blind in there. I played drums in the high school marching band and I had a blast. I can still kind of. Did you guys do
Which
like a?
drums did you play?
Well, I started out on the snare. There's a story to this, okay? Of course there is. I'm a
Mhm.
goddamn storyteller. It's what I do. But no, I started out on snare drum. So I started playing drums when I was 8, and I had a brother who was in high school. I was in elementary school at the time. That was in the high school marching band, and I desperately wanted to be a musician. So he would bring home his snare drum for the first few weeks when they were in band camp, and we lived right next to the school. So he would bring home his snare drum and he would practice. When he was done, I would steal his sheet music, and I taught myself how to read drum sheet music, which isn't
Wow.
that difficult. It really isn't, though. It's not like playing the flute where you got to change notes and stuff. It's not like that. It's just a rhythm. And then I had
Hmm.
a snare drum, so I learned. So by the time they had been about halfway through the marching season, he had introduced me to his high school band instructor, who ended up years later being my high school band instructor. And I started playing with the high school marching band when I was 8 or 9. Now they wouldn't let me march. What they would do is, did you guys do the football games? Did you ever play one of those?
Yes.
So in between, you march out in the beginning, right? And then you're in the stands until halftime when you do your show. And in the
Hmm.
stands, they
Hmm.
put the drums all in front of the stands and you get to jam and play and all.
Play
So
cadences. Yep.
that's where I was allowed to play. So from 8 until I was in high school, I wasn't allowed to march, but I could go to the sideline and play. And then in the pep band stuff for basketball, I was always there too. So I was playing
Hmm.
with the high school by the time I was 8. By the time I got to high school, we lived in a town where I think my class was 60 people, something like that. It's a very small school. They didn't have a lot of people. So by the time I was obviously snare drum in freshman year because I was good. And then they bought a set of tritoms for me because the school didn't have them. And
Hmm.
the boosters wanted to buy them, but they didn't know that they had a person that could play them, and I could. So the boosters bought a set of tries. So the next year I played tries. We weren't rich enough to get quads, but tries. So we
Hmm.
had those.
Yeah.
And then I left school after 10th grade because fuck that stupid shit. But that's a whole other story. What did you play?
Snare drum from ninth grade until senior year.
That's awesome. And snare drum was like the coveted spot too. Like it was really hard to get that because they started everybody out on the bass drum. How did you get to snare drum immediately?
Oh, I don't know. We had I guess like a little test where they determined like what I could play, and I was just on snare ever since. I
Dude.
also became section leader. I want to say, I don't know what grade, maybe 10th grade,
Yeah, so you
10th
were good.
grade
Yeah,
possibly.
you were good at it. You need to do that again. We need to get you an electronic kit. Is what we need. If you had a little
Oh no, no,
electronic
no,
kit,
no,
oh, that'd be
no.
so cool. You would
Uh-uh.
love it. Really? You
I
want to have?
love
They are not
marching
going
percussion so much. Like,
to. Yeah.
no, uh-uh.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I don't think what you need to do then is you need to go to the school of the deaf, and you can play there.
We played for them. We played for them. Our marching band played for them. We did their basketball games. We did their football games. Yeah,
I drive by. Well, I'm saying that the apartment building. Are you in an apartment or a house? I'm sorry, I'm being rude.
apartment. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Other people in your apartment might not appreciate it much, but who knows? Maybe they fucking will. I'm not exactly sure. Um,
Hey,
now,
there's a guy upstairs who plays bongos, I think, or some sort of drums up there because you can hear them. I
all
think
right,
they wouldn't mind a
they'd be all
loud
right.
snare with a Kevlar head being played. So, you know,
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Especially if you put the little practice out on it. I think you'd be just fine. And that's fucking awesome. Now, moving on. You are writing, and you're now writing with another author, which is, in my opinion, I don't know a lot about marketing with this shit, but it seems to me that a newer author coming in, a lot of them are taking the same strategy as you. They will put out a book or two, then they will attempt to team up with another author, maybe an anthology, something like that, where a bunch of books are going in, or at least an author that they can do a co-write with.
you
And
said
then
I'm
you can.
writing with another author. I'm not
I
writing
thought.
with another author.
Well, I thought you said that
I'm
you were. I was referring
working with an
specifically.
editor.
Ah, I was referring specifically to you said that there was another project that you were perhaps working on that you couldn't really talk about too much. So I was kind of assuming that's where that was going, but my apologies. I think I took it wrong. A lot of newer authors do this, and that's kind of what I thought you were doing. Have you considered working with another author to? It's basically it's a
I've
promotion, is all it
always
is.
wanted to do anthologies, like based off of a theme, but I haven't.
Hmm.
There's a lot to kind of figure out with it, and I haven't really found anyone who would be interested.
Oh, they're all over the place. Really, you're in the community already, and especially you're on the show now, so people are going to know your name um, because we're huge and we start all authors. No. But people are going to know you. But it's a great way to get in is to pop into either an anthology or one of the authors that you really like, and I love to death, Casey, Parker Williams, that sort of thing. Where the
I love them. I
yeah, and
love
two
them. I
authors.
admire them. Mm.
Well, they're fantastic. Actually, we just picked up a new. This is a world announcement here. We just picked up a new series by Casey Wells and Parker Williams. I don't know if everybody knows that or not, or whether they're working. Let me see what the name of it is, because it just came in over the course of the last few weeks.
Is it the crossbow? The
Yeah, I think it is. It's yes. In fact, I think you nailed it. I get to do the audio for it for that series coming up here, which is
awesome.
very, very fucking cool. But I would think that probably another author in the crowd that likes something similar to you might reach out and connect to you at some point here, and maybe something could work out. Because, in my opinion, an author with a couple books teaming up with somebody else is always a good thing. But I'm going to shut my yap about all
I
that.
agree.
I think you disagreed with me shutting my yap, which is not the first. You're not even the first person today that's told me that. So, you mentioned cooking, and you mentioned that you're just getting into it. Is this something that's kind of new to you, or have you been at it for a while?
Yes. So when I was at the blind school, we did have home economics. However, um, our home economics was not as in depth as probably other people's. So my class and I, we didn't do anything like sewing or things like that. Um, we did a couple of things on the stovetop, nothing to brag about, like maybe like how to boil a hot dog. We did baked potato, um, and I did have some experience with oven stuff once I left the high school. But besides that, that was as far as it went. I definitely learned how to clean at the blind school, but I did not, the cooking experience was not the greatest for me. So there actually is someone from the state who will come out and they'll work with me on cooking. And I don't know if we're friends on Facebook if you've seen the post, but I actually put up a post where I basically, like I just explained to you about all that. I put all that in the post and I said that I made spaghetti, meatballs, and garlic bread. And there was a picture below it with me standing next to it and with the food as well. And I also kind of brought it back to the new book that's coming out. My character in the new book, he is blind and he's lived a sheltered life. And so he's learning these things as well.
Dude, well, it's got to be. Actually, Liz just said in the crowd, it's got to be dangerous almost to to try and learn that. Somebody coming out obviously is helpful, but good lord, how quickly could you burn your place down and not even realize it? That's,
Absolutely. That's the thing that I'm also like very terrified of, especially with the stovetop. The oven, I've had a few experiences, so I'm not as nervous about it, but I
mhm.
know things can happen. But I am more so like very nervous about frying things on the stove. Also, I don't really like a lot of grease, so I try to avoid stuff like that. That's why I have an air fryer. It's a lot better. But yes, I try to kind of not focus on the fact of burning things burning, but just trying to do things safely is the goal. So that's why they come out and show you how to do it the proper way, so there won't be any hazardous things happening.
Dude, that is freaking awesome. I want to see if this works here. And Jade, well, here, hang on one second. I'm trying to pull up the picture of your spaghetti and show the crowd here. Let me see if I can do this. Mother, damn it, it didn't freaking work. Let me see if that is. Nope, it didn't work. I was getting all excited for a second. Oh, wait, no, I think it did. I think it did. Look at that. Oh, yeah, let's see if it's up there. All right, guys. Now, I want to show the picture here. So I'm going to pop over, and you should be able to see it on the top right-hand corner, perhaps. Top left-hand corner, I think, if this works. I'm going to leave this up on the screen for about 10 minutes, or about 10 seconds. Oh, look at that. Dude, actually, it looks pretty good. How did you... So you made the meatballs yourself, or did you buy them?
Oh, honey, them came from the store. Okay, them is frozen Italian meatballs.
Dude, you did your job. And by the way, you should be in Alabama. If you could just talk like that from now on, that would be perfect. Hey, thanks, guys, by the
I've
way,
been
for
told that
the...
the accent comes out a lot. And I think, honestly, if I'm honest, I think I picked that accent up from my technology teacher. He's from Alabama, and we used to mimic him all the time. He was also our band director. So we
Nice.
actually have a song. I don't know if you know the Dougie, the rap song.
No, I'm old, Jade, but please tell us.
So basically, we just had a song based off of some things he'd say, and we turned the song, the Dougie, into just stuff that he would say. And we actually did it for a talent show thing. It was hilarious. The crowd went crazy. Okay.
Now,
It was
do you remember any of the words of it? I mean, you don't have to sing the whole thing, but do you remember any of the words of
so
any of it?
his name is Mr. Kelly. So what we do, so one of my friends was on the drums. Actually, it was really cool. We made this a whole thing. So basically, it's just his accent. So we'd say, Mr. Kelly, what's a braille note? Mr. Kelly, what's a Dougie? Mr. Kelly, what's a trombone? Mr. Kelly. Yeah, it was pretty
Oh, that is fantastic,
crazy. This
dude.
is great.
You're a ton of fun. I can't believe how many people I get to meet with this gig anymore. I'm telling you, you're a ton of fun.
Yeah.
We're doing great. I want you to tell me, and by the way, come back anytime. You're wonderful. But I want you to tell me you have two books out now. Is that correct? Am I
Yes.
wrong? Excellent. The name? Can you tell us the names of those again?
So the first one is Claim Me, Love Me, and the second one is A Destined Christmas Miracle, and it is in the All Access series. So it's
Excellent.
the first book.
Have you done? I forget. I'm sorry. Have you done any Audible books yet? Are they available on those or no?
The only audiobook is for Claim Me, Love Me. I'm
Okay.
working on the one for A Destined Christmas Miracle.
Cool. Do you remember who the narrator was for that one?
Rain Corbin.
Very good. And
They're
that's just
amazing.
yeah, just to offer people different formats out there too, which is freaking awesome. As you know, a lot of people are just not able to read it.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that you're kind of working on something right now. Are you able to tell us specifically what project you're working on currently?
So I'm currently editing, working with my editor on the second book in the All Access series. It's titled Finally Free. And I mentioned the guy, Chase. He is completely blind and he's been living a sheltered life up until recently. So
Mm-hmm.
he's learning how to live independently. He's also gay. It's a gay romance.
Mm-hmm.
And his aunt is very homophobic and racist. So he's navigating that while also being interested in BDSM. So he's new to all of this, like living independently, um, being okay with himself because he's not completely, um, like out about being interested in the lifestyle. And he's a really sweet guy. He's nervous about a lot of things. And then from the previous book, Dennis, he is, gosh, I don't even know if there's words to even tell you about Dennis because
Okay.
Dennis got a lot going on. Um, he has a lot going on, and a lot of people I think who have read A Destined Christmas Miracle hate Dennis right now. So all I can say is you're going to continue to hate him for at least a little bit longer if you've read the.
I I love it when authors have the well. Again, I mentioned in probably a good way to wrap it that you have balls, but it's I love it when authors have balls and are willing to actually make a character with some real what do they call not Mary Sue. Thank you for doing that. That's absolutely wonderful. A character that has flaws and is going to fuck up, and in fact, people don't like him at first. Awesome, good job.
Mm-hmm.
I popped everything up on the screen that you've done so far, so people can see that. We'll provide the links below for the YouTube hit, obviously. Thank you so
Mm-hmm.
much for coming on.
Absolutely.
I tried really hard to pay attention to the questions this time in the comments. But if I missed something, guys, please just let me know. We will see you all. I'm going to be working here in about an hour, hour and a half, somewhere in there in Discord if you want to tag along for the row book. Other than that, we will see you all when we see you. Jay, this is the easiest part. You did great, by the way. Wave at the camera for me. See you all later, guys.